Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I will show you my homeland, Valenzuela City in the Philippines. Valenzuela, officially the city of Valenzuela, is a first-class highly urbanized city in metropolitan Manila, Philippines. According to the 2015 census, it has a population of 620,422 people. It is the 13th most populous city in the country and is located about 14 kilometers north of Manila, the nation's capital. Climate type: tropical monsoon climate. Native languages: Tagalog. Valenzuela, Valenzuela, citation needed, officially the city of Valenzuela, Tagalog, Lungsoding Valenzuela, is a first-class highly urbanized city in metropolitan Manila, Philippines. According to the 2015 census, it has a population of 620,422 people. It is the 13th most populous city in the country and is located about 14 kilometers (8.7 miles) north of Manila, the nation's capital. Valenzuela is categorized under Republic Act Nos. 7160 and 8526 as a highly urbanized, first-class city based on income classification and number of population. A landlocked chartered city located on the island of Luzon, it is bordered by the province of Bulacan, and cities of Caloocan, Malabon and Quezon City. Valenzuela shares border and access to Tenajeros-Tullahan River with Malabon. It has a total land area of 45.75 square kilometers, where its residents are composed of about 72% Tagalog people followed by 5% Bicolanos with a small percentage of foreign nationals. Valenzuela was named after Pio Valenzuela, a physician and a member of the Katipunan, a secret society founded against the colonial government of Spain. The city, as a town, was originally called as Polo, initially formed in 1621 after separation from Maykawayan, Bulacan. The Battle of Malintra of the Philippine-American War was fought in Polo in 1899. In 1960, President Carlos P. Garcia ordered the split of Polo's southern barangays to form another town named as Valenzuela. The split was revoked by President Diosdado Macapagal in 1963 after political disagreements, and the new merged town was named Valenzuela. The modern-day Valenzuela with its borders was chartered in 1998. Owing to the cross-migration of people across the country and its location as the northernmost point of Metro Manila, Valenzuela has developed into a multicultural metropolis. A former agricultural rural area, Valenzuela has grown into a major economic and industrial center of the Philippines when a large number of industries relocated to the central parts of the city. Toponymy: in Spanish, Valenzuela is a diminutive form of Valencia which means Little Valencia. The name Valenzuela is also the surname of Pio Valenzuela y Alejandrino, a Tagalog physician and was one of the leaders of Katipunan. He was regarded as a member of the Katipunan Triumvirate which started the Philippine Revolution against Spanish colonial authorities in 1896. He also served as the provisional chairman for the Katipunan. Before 1960, Valenzuela was formerly known as Polo. The name Polo was derived from the Tagalog term pulo, which means island or islet, although the area was not an island itself. The town of Polo was entirely surrounded by the rivers, thus, creating an impression of itself being an island. History during Spanish era. During the Spanish era, present-day Valenzuela, Obando and Novaliches, now in Quezon City, were parts of Bulacan. Areas now covered by Valenzuela included 4 haciendas: Malinta, Tala, Piedad, and Maysilo, small political settlements and a Spanish garrison. These areas were known as Polo. The region was bounded by the Tullahan River on the south and streams of branching Rio Grande de Pampanga on some areas. When Manila became an archdiocese in 1595, regular friars who had already established permanent churches in Catanghalan, Bulacan, now Maykawayan, decided that the sitio of Polo be separated from the town and have its own church to cater its increasing spiritual needs. Through successive efforts of Franciscan Friar Juan Taranco and Don Juan Monsad, Sitio Polo was successfully separated from Catanghalan on November 7, 1621, at the feast day of the town's new patron, Saint Didacus of Alcala, known locally as San Diego de Alcala. The first cabeza de barangay of Polo was Monsad, while Taranco run the parish on a small tavern, which would become the present-day San Diego de Alcala Church. The separation was then confirmed by Governor-General Alonso Fajardo de Entenza in a proclamation letter on November 12, 1623. Later, the date of November 12 is adopted as the foundation day of the city. The construction of a parochial church dedicated to St. Didacus of Alcala started in 1627, under the supervision of Father Jos A. Valencia and Juan Tibay. The first church structure was completed in 1632. But its bell was looted during the Chinese Uprising of 1635. At that time, Chinese merchants resided specifically in Barrio Paranchillo, which was located at the back of the church. In 1852, the church was repaired and remodeled under the direction of Father Vicente. The church was later rededicated to another patron, to the Nuestra Señora de la Inmaculada Concepción. A convent was also built, followed by a common house, Casa Tribunal, that had a rectangular prison cell and a schoolhouse made of stone. On June 3, 1865, a strong earthquake destroyed the belfry of the San Diego de Alcala church, followed by an epidemic that killed thousands of people. A new pueblo was carved out of the northwestern area of Polo on May 14, 1753, by the orders of the Governor-General Francisco José de Obando y Solis, Marquis of Brindisi. The new town was named Obando in honor of the Governor-General, and was incorporated to Bulacan. In 1762–1764 British occupation of Manila and surrounding suburbs, the colonial government led by Simon de Anda y Salazar fled to Bacolod, Pampanga through Polo. The British followed Anda, and at one point stayed in Sitio Mabalo while waiting for orders from the British civil governor Dawson A. Drake. They explored the nearby communities of Malande, Huacas, Dalandanan, Pasilo, Rincon and Malinta. The terrified local population fled and sought refuge in the forests of Vientre Reals, where many of them died of malaria. 22. The British then proceed to Malolos, Bulacan, where they were ambushed by the stationed Spanish soldiers. After the chase, the local population of Polo returned to their homes on May 12, 1763, after days of reconstruction. The day May 12 was commemorated as the Feast of Saint Roque, locally known as San Roque, as another patron saint and as a memorial to those who died in the 7 Years' War. In 1854, General Manuel Pavia y Lacy, Marquis de Novaliches, was named Governor-General of the Philippine Islands. He arrived in Manila with the task of establishing a penal colony where prisoners would be granted lands they would develop in exchange for their release. The colony was given the name Hacienda Tala since the once heavily forested area became identical to one where a star Tala had fallen after clearing. This hacienda grew into a larger community that eventually merged with the haciendas of Malinta and Piedad in forming the independent town of Novaliches on January 26, 1856. A new road from Polo to Novaliches opened and traversed the barrios of Mabalo, Pasilo, Rincon, Malinta, Masasan, Paso de Blas, Canamay and Bagbagan. In 1869, Filipino physician and patriot Pio Valenzuela was born in Polo. He would be later known as one of the key leaders of the Katipunan, which he joined in 1892 at the age of 23. His admission to the society led to the more recruits from Polo, including Ulpiano Fernandez, Gregorio Flamenco, Crispiniano Agustins, and Faustino Duque. When Valenzuela was the chief editor, Fernandez held a special role in the Katipunan as a printer of the Angkalayan, the organization's official newspaper. The now-defunct Manila-Dagupan Railway opened in 1892 and traversed the barrios of Marulas, Karahatan, Malinta, Dalandanan and Malande, with the station being in Dalandanan. A constituted branch of the Katipunan was established in Polo on February 1, 1896. The town joined other revolutionaries when the Philippine Revolution broke out on August 1896, while Valenzuela availed the amnesty offered by Spanish authorities few weeks later. One of the notable battles in Polo occurred in Sitios Bitik and Pasong Balite in Pugad-Baboy, where the locals won under the command of General Tiburcio de Leon y Gregorio. During the revolution, the Spanish massacred many residents, most of them in Malinta. Suspected revolutionaries were hanged and tortured to death. Many were forced to admit guilt or shout innocent names, others were shot without trial. History during American era. Valenzuela was named after Pio Valenzuela, a Filipino revolutionary who was born in Polo in 1869. Stone arch in Barangay Arcong Bato built by the Americans in 1910, which serves as the boundary marker to the old town of Polo. The Americans imposed a military government when they acquired the Philippine Islands from Spain as part of the peace treaty of the Spanish–American War. They appointed Pio Valenzuela as the first municipal president of Presidente Municipal on September 6, 1899, to suppress aggressive leadership in the area. He resigned in February 1901 to become the head of the military division, and an election was held. Later that year, the government proclaimed Rufino Valenzuela, a relative of Pio, as the second president and first elected municipal president of the town. When the Philippine–American War broke out in early 1899, the Americans were directed to capture Emilio Aguinaldo, who was escaping to Malolos, Bulacan. Polo was one of the towns where Aguinaldo retreated, thus it received heavy casualties on the first stages of the war. On February 22, 1899, General Antonio Luna camped at Polo after an unsuccessful engagement with the American forces in Caloocan. A bloody battle on March 26, 1899, happened near the Barrio Chapel of Malinta. The Filipino forces had to retreat with arrival of American reinforcements after were initially successful in defending Malinta and killing Colonel Harry Egbert. In 1910, a stone arch was built at the boundary of Polo, Bulacan and Malabon, Rizal along Calle Real. In 1928, MacArthur Highway opened and became the new gateway. The once agricultural town slowly shifted to industrial. Businesses soon put up factories, the most famous of which is the Japanese venture Balintawak Beer Brewery that opened in 1938. Japanese occupation. The entrance of the Japanese in Polo during the Second World War was met with almost no resistance. However, there were too many murders committed. The place became a center of makapili and spies who troubled the peaceful civilians. It was found that the Balintawak Beer Brewery became front for manufacturing ammunition for the Japanese forces. The sudden appearance of the Japanese added terror to the place. The old church of San Diego de Alcala became a torture house during World War II. The Reign of Terror climaxed on December 10, 1944. It was a day of mourning for the people of Polo and Obando when the Japanese massacred more than 100 males in both towns. About 1 a.m. on this day up to the setting of the sun, cries could be heard from the municipal building when males were tortured to death. Mayor Feliciano Ponciano met the same fate when he died on a cruel death together with other municipal officials. When liberation came, the town was partly burned by the military forces of combined Filipino and American regiments who used flamethrowers. They bombed and shelled big houses in the town, not exempting even the more than 300 years old Church of San Diego. The historical old bridge connecting northern and southern areas of the town was destroyed by the Japanese, thus separating Polo in two parts. The northern part was at once liberated by joint Filipino and American troops, while the southern part, which includes the municipal center Poblacion, was still under the Japanese banner. The Japanese abandoned the town on February 11, 1945, when the combined troops were able to cross the river and took the town. In 1947, the Balintawak Beer Brewery was acquired by San Miguel Beer. The Spanish church was never rebuilt and only the belfry and the entrance arch remained. A new church was built perpendicular to the ruins of the old one. Modern history. On July 21, 1960, President Carlos P. Garcia signed Executive Order No. 401, which divided Polo into two, Polo and Valenzuela. Polo comprised the northern barangays of Huangpulo, Poblacion, Palasan, Arcong Bato, Paranchilo Villa, Balancas, Mabalo, Colong, Malande, Bizig, Tagalag, Rincon, Pasalo, Puncharan, Bignay, Viente Reals, and Dalandanan. Valenzuela, on the other hand, comprised the southern barangays of Caruatan, Marulas, Malinta, Ugong, Mapalang Lupa, Canamay, Mason, Parada, Paso de Blas, Bagbagan and Torres Bugalan, now Gen. T. de Leon. A provisional town hall was built in front of today's SM Valenzuela, until a permanent town hall was built near the intersection of MacArthur Highway and the old Polo Novaliches Road. The division soon proved to be detrimental to economic growth in each town, so Bulacan's 2nd District Representative to the 5th Congress Rogaciano Mercado and Senator Francisco Soc Rodrigo filed a bill which sought the reunification of the two towns. On September 11, 1963, President Diosdado Macapagal signed Executive Order No. 46 which reunified Valenzuela and Polo, adapting Valenzuela as the name of the resulting town. In 1967, Mayor Ignacio Santiago Sr. bought lots in Curuatan in which the new municipal hall would be built. Misinterpretation of property surveys and tax appropriation issues sparked the debate on which barangay should the municipal hall be belonged to, Curuatan, Malinta, or Mason. To resolve the issue, Santiago ordered the creation of a new barangay which was called Poblacion II, a reference to the old Poblacion barangay. On November 7, 1975, jurisdiction over Valenzuela was moved from the province of Bulacan to Metro Manila. Metro Manila was then headed by First Lady Imelda Marcos as its governor. Due to this, Valenzuela is the only area in the modern National Capital Region that was not part of either Spanish colonial-era Manila or Rizal Province. In 1968, MH del Pilar Street was renovated and converted into the MH del Pilar Superhighway. In the same year, MacArthur Highway, a segment of MacArthur Highway, was constructed in Valenzuela. MacArthur Highway connects Manila to northern provinces of the Philippines. 38. The passage of the Local Government Code in 1991 provided local governments autonomy, which has allowed them develop into self-reliant communities. On February 14, 1998, President Fidel V. Ramos signed Republic Act No. 8526, which converted the municipality of Valenzuela into a highly urbanized chartered city. The law also ordered the division of the newly created city into 2 legislative districts. 8. When the law was ratified on December 30, 1998, Valenzuela became the 12th city to be admitted in Metro Manila and the 83rd in the Philippines. 39-40 In 2002, President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo proclaimed July 11 every year as Valenzuela Day, which was an official holiday in the city that commemorates the birth date of P.O. Valenzuela. 18. However, in 2008, the date of the city's Charter Day was transferred to February 14. Today, Valenzuela City celebrates Valenzuela Day and Valenzuela Foundation Day on February 14 and November 12 respectively. On May 13, 2015, a fire broke out in Kentex manufacturing factory in Barangay Ugong, killing 74 people in the incident. In 2016, the Ombudsman ordered the dismissal of Mayor Rex Gatchalian and other city officials due to grave misconduct and negligence of duty during the incident. 42. This is dubbed as the third worst fire incident in the country. On March 15, 2020, the city and the entire metropolitan Manila was placed under community quarantine for 1 month due to the 2020 coronavirus pandemic. Geography. Places adjacent to Valenzuela, Metro Manila. Valenzuela is located at 14 degrees 40 minutes 58 seconds north, 120 degrees 58 minutes 1 second east, and is about 14 kilometers (8.7 miles) north of country's capital, Manila. Manila Bay, the country's top port for trade and industry, is located about 16.3 kilometers (10.1 miles) west of the city. Valenzuela is bordered in the north by the town of Obando and the city of Meycauayan in Bulacan, the city of Navotas in the west, Malabon in the south, and Quezon City and northern portion of Caloocan in the east. The highest elevation point is 38 meters (125 feet) above sea level. Having a surface gradient of 0.55% and a gentle slope, hilly landscape is located in the industrial section of the city in Canamay. The average elevation point is 2 meters (6.6 feet) above sea level. Apart from the political borders set by the law, Valenzuela and Malabon is also separated by the 15-kilometer Tenajeros-Tullahan River, or simply Tullahan River. The river obtained its name from tulya or clam due to the abundance of such shellfish in the area. 46 Tullahan is a part of the Marilao-Meycauayan-Obando River system of central Luzon. It is now considered biologically dead and one of the dirtiest river system in the world. Tullahan riverbanks used to be lined with mangrove trees and rich with freshwater fish and crabs. Children used to play in the river before it was polluted by developing industries near it. In an effort to save the river, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, Metropolitan Manila Development Authority and the local governments of Valenzuela and Malabon signed partnerships with private and non-government organizations to dredge the area. Increased climate variability, that is associated with global warming, has brought with it periods of heavy rainfall and high tides, which in turn results in stagnant water which can stay in the area for up to 4 weeks due to insufficient drainage and improper solid waste disposal. People are often stranded inside their homes and are exposed to waterborne diseases such as dengue and leptospirosis. Better early warning systems are needed to manage the risk associated with increased rainfall. Climate. Average max and min temperatures in degrees C. Precipitation totals in mm source, BBC Weather, Manila. Imperial conversion. Due to its location in Metro Manila, rainfall and climate in Valenzuela is almost similar to the country's capital Manila. The location of Valenzuela in the western side of the Philippines made Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration to classify its weather scheme as Type 1. Wind coming from the Pacific Ocean is generally blocked by the Sierra Madre mountain range, several kilometers east of the city. Its proximity to the equator tends to make its temperature to rise and fall into very small range, from as low as 20 degrees Celsius (68 degrees Fahrenheit) to as high as 35 degrees Celsius (95 degrees Fahrenheit), although humidity makes these warm to hot temperatures feel much hotter. The Köppen climate system classifies Valenzuela climate as a borderline tropical monsoon and tropical savanna due to its location and precipitation characteristics. This means that the city has 2 pronounced seasons, dry and wet seasons. Humidity levels are usually high in the morning, especially during June to November, which makes it feel warmer. Lowest humidity levels are recorded in the evening during wet season. Discomfort from heat and humidity is extreme during May and June, otherwise it is higher compared to other places in the country. Average sunlight is maximum at 254.25 hours during April and minimum at 113 hours during July, August and September. Ecology. The vegetation in Valenzuela was originally covered with grasslands suitable for agriculture. Because of rapid development of industries and economy, land use converts grass covers into cemented roads. However, the government put into efforts of preserving vegetation such as constructing community vegetable gardens and techno-demo farms all over the city. In 2003, these gardens numbered up to 2 functioning farms. Flora and fauna in Valenzuela includes the common plants and animals found in Luzon, such as domesticated mammals. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources Protected Areas and Wildlife Bureau declared a 2-hectare mangrove, swampy area in Villa Encarnacion, Barangay Malande as an ecotourism site. Every year, about 100 species of migratory birds such as black-crowned night herons Nycticorax and other native birds such as moorhen Gallinula sp, swamp hen Porphyrio sp, and Philippine duck Anis luzonica flock the area. Wooden view decks are built to facilitate spectators, enthusiasts and visitors while having bird watching and counting activities. As of 2020, the said ecotourism site is no longer the Villa Encarnacion today. The area has been changed and many individuals built a house on the side of the main road. The forest look like that the wildlife go into a now gone and will become another subdivision. This will be one of Dulalia subdivision on Barangay Malande. In 2007, ordinary fishing ponds in Tagalog and Colong were transformed into fishing spots which attracts anglers every year for a prize catch. Fish tournaments are held every year to increase tourism and livelihood in the area. In 2008, the Supreme Court of the Philippines mandated Regional Trial Court Branch 171 as an environmental court handling all environment cases in Valenzuela. Thomas Hodge Smith noted in 1939 that Valenzuela is rich of black tektites occurring in spheroidal and cylindrical shapes and are free of bubbles. Government and politics. First, left, and second, right, legislative districts of Valenzuela. The Valenzuela City Hall complex in Barangay Malinta. Like other cities in the Philippines, Valenzuela is governed by a mayor and a vice mayor who are elected to 3-year terms. The mayor is the executive head who leads the city's departments in the execution of city ordinances and delivery of public services. The vice mayor heads a legislative council that is composed of 14 members, 6 councillors from each of the city's 2 districts, and 2 ex officio officers held by the Association of Barangay Chairman President as the Barangay Sector Representative and the Sangguniang Kabataan Federation President as Youth Sector Representative. The council is in charge of creating the city's policies in the form of ordinances and resolutions. The city is geographically part of, but not politically related to, the 3rd District of Metro Manila. Demographics. The demonym of Valenzuela is Valenzuelano for males and Valenzuelana for females. It is sometimes spelled as Valenzuelano. Based on the 2015 census, Valenzuela City has a total population of 620,422, the 7th most populous in the NCR and 13th in the Philippines. This is an increase of 7.8% from 575,356 people in 2010, at an annual growth rate of a 1.45%. 66. The 5 most populous barangays are Gen. T. de Leon 89,441, Marulas 53,978, Malinta 48,397, Ugong 41,821, and Caruatan 40,996. 60. Valenzuela City household population in 2010, on the other hand, is at 574,840. Almost half, 50.2%, are males. Females comprise 49.8% of the population, with a total number of 286,548. The city has a sex ratio of 101 males for every 100 females, the second highest ratio in the region, after Navotas, which has a sex ratio of 102 males per 100 females. 66 7 out of 10 Valenzuela City residents, 66.7%, belong to the working age group, or those aged 15 to 64. The remaining 33.3 are aged 0 to below 15 and 65 and above, which are classified as the dependent age group. Culture. Himig Valenzuela, or Valenzuela Hymn, is the official song of the city. It is sung during flag ceremonies of private and public schools as well as government institutions along with the Philippine national anthem, Lupang Hinarang. The hymn was composed by Edwin Ortega, which has the primary objective to promote unity, progress and patriotism among the city's citizens. City Ordinance No. 18 mandated all citizens of Valenzuela to sing the hymn in all meetings and public occasions. Before its adoption in 2008, Valenzuela has its official hymn during its time as municipality, from being part of Bulacan to Metro Manila, called Bayang Valenzuela, composed by Igmedio M. Reyes and its lyrics by Dr. Eusebio S. Vibar. It is now abandoned its use as official hymn of this city. There is a remastered version by Valenzuela City Cultural and Tourism Development Office, which is found on Facebook, Feasts and Holidays. In 2007, President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo signed Republic Act No. 9428, which sets February 14 every year as a special non-working holiday to commemorate cityhood of Valenzuela in 1998. On the same hand, November 12 each year is declared by the city government as the city's foundation day, looking back the establishment of then Po'o in 1623. There are misunderstandings before regarding the date of the actual foundation of the town, however, this date was decided by the National Historical Commission of the Philippines to be the town's creation, since Spanish colonizers adopted a town's patron saint feast day as its date of creation. Each barangay in Valenzuela have their own feast. Most of them launch celebrations during May and April to honor patron saints and bounty harvest. Every April 26, a Santa Cruzan is performed along with Santa Cruz Festival in Barangay Isla. A Santa Cruzan is a novena procession commemorating Saint Helena's mythical finding of the cross. Saint Helena was the mother of Constantine the Great. According to legends, 300 years after the death of Christ, at the age of 75, she went to Calvary to conduct a search for the cross. After some archaeological diggings at the site of the crucifixion, she unearthed 3 crosses. She tested each one by making a sick servant lie on all 3. The cross where the servant recovered was identified as Christ's. St. Helena's feast day falls on August 8, but the anniversary of the finding of the cross is on May 3. In the Philippines, this celebration took the form of the Mexican Santa Cruz de Mayo. Mano Po, San Roque Festival is celebrated every May 12 in Mabalo. In Valenzuela, San Roque is also known as the patron saint of the unmarried. There are countless tales of single girls who danced and prayed in the procession and who claim to have found their husband during the fiesta. The festival is almost similar to Obando fertility rites where hopeful romantics dance to San Roque requesting to find their true love. 75. Street dancing and procession along the city's major thoroughfares in commemoration of the Feast of San Roque, highlighting the customs and traditional celebration of the festival. 76. This also commemorates townsfolk victory after the British departed the country following the end of 7 Years' War with Spain. The Feast of San Diego de Alcala is commemorated every November 12 in Poblacion. This is a celebration of the feast of the oldest church in Valenzuela, which includes annual boat racing, street dancing and different fabulous activities of the festival. As part of the San Diego de Alcala feast day, a unique food festival in the country is celebrated which features the famous putong polo, the small but classy kakanin which was originally created in the town of Polo. 79. This rice cake was a recipient of Manuel Quezon Presidential Award in 1931, which was cited having its exotic taste and amazingly long shelf life. The celebration, known as Putong Polo Festival, includes a parade featuring artistic creations from the rice cake which showcases creativity among the residents. Tourism. There are several attractions in Valenzuela City that residents and visitors of the city can enjoy. The Valenzuela City People's Park, or simply People's Park, is an urban park located in a 1.3-hectare lot beside the City Hall in Barangay Curuatan. There is an electronically controlled dancing fountain at the park entrance, an aero circle for Zumba and other group exercises, garden, children's playground, zoological spaces where animals are displayed to the public, and a 400-seater amphitheater that can host a wide range of activities. Another facility in the city that boasts of a nature-centered open space and is free to the public is the Valenzuela City Family Park, also in Curuatan. There is a playground, interactive fountain, aviary, fitness machines, amphitheater, and a food park in the park. The park is also pet-friendly, bike-friendly, and accessible to persons with disability. 83. One of the many initiatives of the city government to create greener spaces, Polo Mini Park was inaugurated on January 21, 2020, 6 months after the announcement of the rehabilitation of the historical Old Town Square of Polo. The park is adorned with 100-years-old luscious trees, fountain, memorial marker commemorating war veterans and statues of Pio Valenzuela and José Rizal. The park signifies not only a place for relaxation but also marks the historical identity of the city. In English, Arcong Bato means Arch of Stone, which was constructed and built by the Americans in 1910 to serve as borders between the provinces of Bulacan, where Valenzuela or Polo, as it was known before, belonged to, and Rizal, where Malabon used to be part of. The arch is located along MH del Pilar Street, which was once the main gateway to North Luzon before the construction of MacArthur Highway and North Luzon Expressway. After Malabon seceded from Rizal and Valenzuela from Bulacan to become part of Metropolitan Manila in 1975, the arch now marked as the boundary between the two towns and their respective barangays, Barangay Sanchilan in Malabon and Barangay Arcong Bato in Valenzuela. The Harry C. Egbert Memorial is located in Sitio Tanque Street in Malinta that serves as monument and memorial to Brigadier General Harry Clay Egbert, commanding officer of the 22nd Infantry Regiment of the United States who was mortally wounded here in 1899 during the Philippine-American War. Additionally, Egbert also served the U.S. Army during American Civil War and Spanish-American War. The Museo Valenzuela, English, Valenzuela Museum, was the house where Dr. Pio Valenzuela, in whose memory the old town of Polo was renamed, was born and saw the best years of his life. This same house was burned recently. Valenzuela's historical and cultural landmark, Museo Valenzuela features collections of artifacts depicting the city's past and continuing development. The Libanganing Mga Hapon, English, Japanese cemetery was built in a 500-square-meter lot of the Bureau of Telecommunications compound. The cemetery served thousands of fallen Japanese soldiers during the Philippines campaign of 1944–45. The National Shrine of Our Lady of Fatima, Tagalog, Pambansang Dambanaing Bahening Fatima, is the center of the Fatima Apostolate in the country. Was declared a tourist site in 1982 by the Department of Tourism and a pilgrimage shrine in 2009 by the Diocese of Malolos. It is near the Our Lady of Fatima University. The shrine houses the wooden statue of Our Lady of Fatima, one of the 50 images blessed by Pope Paul VI in 1967 as part of Golden celebration of the Marian apparition to 3 children in Fatima, Portugal. The images were later distributed to churches worldwide, where one of them is intended for the Philippines, however, unclaimed, ending up in New Jersey. In 1984, Archbishop of Manila Jaime Cardinal Sin finally claimed the statue and was then transferred under the custody Bahay Maria Foundation, a Philippine-based Marian organization. During People Power Revolution in 1986, it was one of the iconic figures held by revolutionaries to oust the dictator Ferdinand Marcos. On October 17, 1999, the statue was then transferred to the shrine. The Feast of Our Lady of Fatima is celebrated every March 7 and May 13. Dr. Pio Valenzuela, who became part of the triumvirate of Revolutionary Society Katipunan and founder of the organ Ang Kalayaan, lived and died in 1956 at the old residence of Pio Valenzuela along Valilla Street in Barangay Parancillo Villa, where a marker by the Valenzuela city government was placed in his honor. The present house was built after the war on the site of the old house which once served as venue for secret meetings and gatherings of the Katipunan. The old house was burned during World War II. 85–86. The San Diego de Alcala Church and its belfry was built in 1632 by the people of Polo. Residents were taken to forced labor to complete the church after the town gained its independence through Father Juan Taranco and Don Juan Monsed. The belfry and entrance arch, which are over 4 centuries old, are the only parts of the edifice that remain to this day. The main structure was destroyed by bombs during the Japanese occupation. Residents of barangays Polo and Poblacion celebrate the feast day of San Diego de Alcala on November 12 every year, together with the Putong Polo Festival. Located at Malande, the Hearts of Jesus and Mary Parish Church, was erected on October 17, 1994, to replace the Santo Cristo Chapel, and solemnly declared on June 24, 2001. The church belongs to the Vicariate of Saint Didacus of Alcala, Valenzuela City, Roman Catholic Diocese of Malolos. The Valenzuela Astrodome is a large multi-purpose, domed sports stadium located in Barangay Dalandanan that hosts several sports events, concerts, promotional events, seminars, job fairs, etc. Dubbed as Valenzuela City's best-kept secret, the Tagalog fishing village lies beside a 1.3-kilometer boardwalk in Barangay Tagalog. Various activities are being offered in one of the newest attractions in the city, such as recreational fishing, line fishing tutorials, bird watching, boating, photo walk, and sunset watching. Thank you for watching until end. If you like this video, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share to your community. Thank you so much and see you again next time. Adios mi amigo.